morning, beautiful people. It's a brand new week, and we are happy to come your way again on Rise and Shine. Yes, it is a brand new week and a brand new edition of Rise and Shine, Monday edition, coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakuran. My name is Otobasi Tom.
And good morning. It's actually a beautiful day today. And yes, like Kutubon said, welcome to Rise and Shine. And I hope you had a very beautiful weekend. You enjoyed your weekend and you're ready to kickstart your week and make all the positive changes and make your day also very productive. My name is Janice Kobum.
Very bright morning to you. Welcome on Rise and Shine. I hope you rise and shine. I am Yari American.
Definitely, this is a platform where we thrill you with topical issues and subjects that cuts across all human interests. And yes, when we say we are a full package, that's because we will take you through what you need to know on all sides of life. So yes, we'll start already with the situation in Port Harcourt, River State, where a lot of persons were stampeded on account of some humanitarian activities carried out by a church.
Yeah, definitely. And, looking at that particular event, I was like, why would this actually happen? Didn't they plan enough for the crowd? Because from what I heard and read as well, that has been happening since 2014.
Yes.
So it's more like 8 years since that, they call it food for, there's a name they call it.
Yeah.
So weren't they prepared enough, for the crowd that would actually come out that day?
Well, truth of the matter is, from what I saw, the venue was properly arranged, and you could see like about 1,000-seater tent that was put up there, in two places. That's provision for about 2,000 persons. Okay. But the situation actually took place when, even before the event started, where persons that were supposed to be checked in at the gate, because there was like a crowd of persons there. So they actually wanted to force themselves into the venue, and that was what led to the stampede. Then it goes a long way to show the situation of the country. Definitely. Now, how would 30 persons die to just assess humanitarian service? And this is a country, if I remember vividly what happened during the COVID-19, palliative, during the pandemic when we were on total lockdown, it was a similar situation, and you could see people struggling for, I think what was called palliative was about three to four cups of rice with 2 cubes of seasoning, and then I think a sachet of 100 naira vegetable oil and all of that. So that is palliative that's supposed to take a family, perhaps a family of 3, an average of 4 in Nigeria for like throughout the pandemic. Come on. Funny.
I'm telling you, the thing is, the country where it is right now is going through a lot. There's the issue of poverty, there's the issue of poverty, and you just know that a lot of indices have actually caused this to happen.
Definitely.
Okay, and one of it, we hear and we know, is the pandemic. Let's go back to COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 when it first came, the lockdown of everywhere, shutdown of borders, So it just increased what we have as hunger pandemic right now, because that's what we're facing. Hunger in itself and poverty in itself has become a pandemic, and COVID-19, like they say, is one of the indices that actually shut that up, because we have, according to the United Nations, we have like 95 million people that are below the poverty line.
Definitely.
Yeah, with regards to the stampede, I'll just say, because one would probably say the church, that King's Assembly had not properly planned for the security and crowd control at the event. But then again, I believe that with the turn of events and the economy in the country, they had a crowd way more than they expected. So I believe that the organizers of the event were overwhelmed by the number of people that actually came for the event. And not just being overwhelmed, oftentimes people do not know how to organize themselves when they come to those kinds of events. They do not want to hear when you tell them to sit. wait, we are going to take roles, we are going to do this, and eventually we have a plan. This
Now,
is going
yeah,
to
you
get
got
to
me
everybody.
giggling.
Yeah, this is
Truth
going
of
to
the
get to
matter is,
everybody.
a hungry person is an angry person. So at that point, they are just hungry, and they want to see how they can, sustain or be sure of a square meal or perhaps the next meal, and then that alone, no one will stand on their way. So it's like a do or die thing for them. So you're trying to, talk about crowd control and say instead is, okay, are you trying to obstruct me from getting the next meal
No,
of the
the
day
The
for
point.
myself?
organizers that are telling you this thing is going to get, because even in this, we have a mother and 4 of her children, including a 4-month-old baby that passed away in the course of this. I mean, in the time where you even see that 1, 2 persons have already, fallen to the ground, and I mean already
No, when
looking
you're
like they're
talking
dead.
about a stampede here, when once it goes, okay, you can't
And people
stop
keep
it,
falling
and
over
people keep
themselves.
falling over themselves. But again, I think I want to quite agree with her because Nigerians generally, we don't like anything like discipline. I'm sorry, but I just have to say this, this thing called orderliness. You go to a banking hall and they are saying stand on the queue and someone is jumping over the queue just to, so we always want things fast, But I think if they were orderly enough and, sit here, do this, do that, at the end of the day, everybody would have gotten a fair share of whatever it is the church was
Of course,
actually giving.
that would have been the normal procedure,
Yeah.
given the normal circumstances. But I'm trying to, picture a typical Nigerian situation.
Yeah.
Yes, in center climes where everything is smooth, where, let's say, an average family can afford a square meal, or perhaps it's just a situation where it needs intervention, perhaps like in the case of Ukraine, where, they were getting some relief materials from other countries. So yes, they would, you will see that orderliness. But come on, this is Nigeria. I'm not saying everything bad does happen in Nigeria, but the truth of the matter is a lot of persons are hungry. A lot of persons are worried as to where their next meal would come from. And of course, you talked about COVID-19 as one of the major causes. Yes, but truth be told, before COVID-19, a lot of Nigerians were still living below $1 a day. So it was below poverty line. And as we speak, Nigeria is being talked about as the world capital of poverty. So with that being the case, and I know we've had statements from the likes of the governor of Rivers State, Yesun Wike, come to, commiserate with those that the victims of that. And of course, we've had a report that President Muhammad Buhari has also, commiserated with them. But I feel that is not enough. It is quite saddening that I feel it's something that our leaders should weep over, that people as large as 30 could die just trying to assess, and not a bag of rice per se. I'm sure it was just going to be a few cups and thereabout. So then you see the number of persons going there to die. It goes a long way to show the detriment of I don't know, the deterioration in the system. So it's not enough to say Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world. That is a typical explanation as to how bad the situation is in the country at this time. And this is a country that just concluded PDP primaries. And of course, you will hear persons that spend up to 30 billion naira in campaigns. And now in that same state is where 30 persons died because of ordinary rice. It's very pathetic.
It is very, very pathetic. And just to add to what you have said, it's not just COVID-19, because like you said, before even COVID came, Nigerians have been dying of poverty. Let's also look at, ethnic clashes. This has also, in a very large way, contributed to the poverty level in this country. We go to the north, you see that every now and then there's one crisis or the other, there's one clash or the other. So all of this has a way of affecting the little developments that would have come towards those places. It's destroyed. And then we come back again to look at, what do you call it now, to look at corruption.
That's the major curse of this whole thing.
2015, when the president came on board, I think one of the things he said he was going to do in his administration was to make sure that he nips corruption in the board. But just some few days ago, to mention a few, the Secretary General of the Federation stole 80 billion naira. So all of this And you think that poverty is going to, we are going to
80 billion
curb
naira.
that?
At that point where the figure was mentioned, I was surprised, but I was shocked to the teeth when I heard the situation in River State, the same River State where 30 persons died out of poverty.
Yeah.
The Accountant General of River State is allegedly accused of embezzling 430 something, if I'm not mistaken, billion naira. And that is the state where people are dying. I mean, when we talk about corruption, it means, it just sounds as if we're just saying an English word. But the truth of the matter is, it has become a pandemic, and there should be a state of emergency declared. As far as this country is concerned, if we must deal with corruption, if things must work properly, man, I don't know where to start. I don't know where the sanity would start. I don't know how Nigeria would flush it, but I feel a state of emergency has to be declared against corruption in this country.
You keep thinking what these people will use this amount of money to do, because that's a lot of money.
Even generations upon generations coming from your family will not be able to spend. And then most times they just take the money and stock it away in some other foreign countries. You're not even putting it back into the system to say, okay, maybe it's bringing about jobs, refineries. So we actually do have enough money to be stolen by the people that are in these public offices, but we do not have enough money, you know, to take care of the things that will take care of the public. We have people who are able to steal 80 billion, steal 430 billion and all of the likes. But I mean, ASU has been on strike for 2 months going on.
I'm
3.
telling you.
So someone can steal money that much.
An individual, just an individual.
So there is enough money
in just
those
one single
ministries
state.
and those parastatals, enough to be stolen. So who is the federal government actually deceiving? Why don't you come out, you know, and handle the situation that we have to turn around the events in our country? If, like you said, issues of crisis in the north has taken people away from their farmlands. They're not able to plant rice and all of those things that they planted. It's also increasing, you know, our rates as we are pushing closer to the line of food crisis in Nigeria. But I mean, we still have other places that are not so crisis prone. If we had a forward-thinking system, someone would take up land in another place and continue to plant these things and help us in our nation. Okay, let's even say the people that are stealing money, or the people who are wealthy in our environment, in our society, why not create a system that effectively gives back? You have 100 billion stolen away.
Effectively give back
to the society.
We had some people that decided they were going to be giving back to society, and then we have 30 people dying.
Okay, that's the roughly fair.
You know, the truth of the matter is, I'm not sure the process of that humanitarian activity was quite okay, because I feel in this jet age there are other procedures. Perhaps they've done it, yes, they've done it for 8 years, but if they want to be in line with current realities, I think it would have been better if they get statistics of this person and perhaps have these items delivered to them. It's not difficult to deliver 1,000
I don't think that's the system it's done. I think the ministry or the organization just organizes it, and they announce that there's going to be a free like trade fair, and people should just come to so location on a certain day. So they don't even have you can't garner the demographics of the people and the statistics of the number of people you're going to have. So I believe it's just it's a situation where the organization was overwhelmed. Maybe they even planned for, say, 1,000 persons, and then in short they have 4,000 people.
It was properly organized, and you could see seats being kept, and you could see they actually recognized they were. You know, they took into cognizance the COVID-19 social distancing procedure or protocol. But then you could see that even before the persons or the invitees got into the venue, to even get a chance to sit down, a lot of persons had already
started arriving that place before 6 a.m. in the morning, waiting for the organizers to come open up the place. So it's just a case of being overwhelmed by the numbers.
But I think also that, you know, you forecast, because this thing has to do with hunger. It has to do with free things, and like we say in this part of world, Nigerians, we love free things a lot. Generally, people love free things. Okay, so even giving out of free stuff to people, I expect over, but
if you're budgeting 1,000 persons,
you have
should
to
know that
budget like 5,000 Do you get
extra.
And I was talking
That's a
to
lot of projection with the money that you two are looking for.
It goes a long way to show the level of poverty, that it has eaten deep into the fiber of the society, that you never can tell who is the poorest of the poor, like the federal government will say. You never can actually ascertain who is vulnerable in Nigeria, because as far as we know, everyone is vulnerable. So yes, it's like saying you want to do poverty alleviation and you're excluding civil servants because you assume they are working and they are getting paid. It will shock you or surprise you to know that a civil servant is actually even more poor than someone who is unemployed. So that is the situation that we are in this country. We do not know who is safe. We do not know who is unsafe. So as far as this country is concerned, if a policy must be made, if you are talking about humanitarian activities, that you will show that somebody will pull over in his own private vehicle and still come to assess humanitarian, services. That's how bad it is.
Note, we have situations like in Nigeria where we say it's not by the clothes or the apparel someone is putting on. Someone might have had these clothes for a couple of years, and right now things are really tight. I go into my wardrobe and pick up, a good outfit and come. You don't know how hungry I've been. You don't know when last I ate. Sometimes like people I remember like back in church, someone would say, you see someone come to church, pull over in a car, you don't know if they just drove their last 2 liters. And the rest. So some of those things, this really calls for concern.
I think now is the time for government to look inward, beyond politics, beyond the process that is ongoing, and try to see how they can save humans first, save Nigeria from the dooming pandemic, hunger, or food scarcity that might be lingering or that is being seen projected. Because with what is going on in Ukraine, there have been projections by a lot of analysts, and they've already spoken about food scarcity. And of course, if you look at inward in Nigeria, farming is not what it used to be. I know government is trying, because I've heard about the rice pyramid that was lifted somewhat a few years back. But in as much as that is so, we've not seen how that has translated into food security in the country. So I feel politics should be left on the side, and people should deal with issues the way they are. Face issues squarely and be sincere as much as you can. I mean, we cannot gamble with our lives. We cannot gamble with, serious issues like food. I mean, who would survive? Even the rich will actually, I think that it will get to a point where you will have money, but you will still not see food items to buy with your money. So then at that point, it will dawn on everyone that we've done ourselves the worst. So yes, it's about time. And this is farming season. It's not too late. Let government invest massively. If you're giving out facilities to farmers, let it be geared to farmers. Let farmers be able to access these facilities directly, not through someone who would actually slash the amount and then send peanuts to the farmers, and it will not actually mean anything to them, because the ripple effect, or what it was meant for, the purpose for which it was disbursed, would not be met. So we still see government bring out figures like we have invested so and so billion naira in agriculture, and then we're not seeing the last thing as corn. And once corn is ripe, and in the next 2 weeks, you will not see corn again in the market, because there is nowhere to preserve corns. Farmers did not plant so much. It's just for basic daily consumption. And I'm not sure if we just plant and eat today, what will now happen? So wheat now is not coming in from Ukraine again. Can't we invest in wheat? Can't wheat grow in Nigeria? These are things that, ministries and MDAs should begin to look inward and begin to act upon them immediately. I mean, this government still has about, today is 30th. Yesterday made it exactly, President Buhari will have 365 days to leave office. So that is 1 year. It shouldn't be wasted away in politics. It shouldn't be gambled upon, because after these 365 days, President Buhari will leave office and Nigeria will still remain. Hunger might still remain if nothing is done about it. Yet the money that is being doled out by this administration because of politics, it will baffle Nigerians that we have such amount of money, but yet nothing is done to serve the poor masses of starvation.
And you mentioned something very unique about food security, and scarcity as well. One thing I've come to realize in this part of the country is that, when once the prices of food stuff goes up, like there's a hike in the prices of foodstuff, you find that it doesn't come down. It just it continues going up. And then you begin to wonder, is there nothing like price control in this country anymore? So you go into the markets, people just increase prices just the way they like. But they are agencies meant for price control.
Now, how would those agencies, Janice, how would those agencies function in the first
Of course,
place?
they have to function.
How would they function? Government is supposed to provide basic amenities for citizens. When those basic amenities are not provided, it is the farmer who provides for his fertilizer. It is the farmer who provides everything. Okay, let's take, for instance, entrepreneurs who actually use electricity to work. And now there is no electricity provided by government. They actually need to buy private generating stakes and then buy PMS as high as it is. And, you know, those that are selling petrol, you know, you have more of independent marketers than NNPC selling, because if NNPC sells, they will sell at the government approved price. And the marketers selling will sell at, you know, they have an organization. So they can just come up today and say that they're selling at 300 naira in Akwa Ibom for no just cause. Because I know the disparity of petrol per liter is different from what you buy here and then from what you buy in Port Harcourt. It's a bit cheaper in Port Harcourt than in Akwa Ibom State. So you can just see people divide and rule. Then you just skyrocket in Akwa Ibom for no reason. Why are you selling petrol up to date?
So why is the government not checking
amount?
that?
But how would they check? Okay, I buy my petrol. You don't know how much I get my petrol. Then I buy my generator. You don't know how much I got it, because you know, these are all private business owners. So generator that I'm buying at 75,000 here, or perhaps 200 if it's a listed gen. I buy at 200, 300 plus, and then you stand at the other way and sell 400, and I buy. Then I'll add my cost, you know, of running my production, and then I add it to my price. Then so that I can get my profit out, and you come as a government and tell me how to sell my stuff. Like, what are you doing for me in the first place? So you see, there's no way these things are going to work, except government lives up to expectation and delivers the basic amenities that human beings, that citizens actually desire to run. And I recall one of the presidential aspirants who spoke, Alhaji Ahmed Bola Tinubu, he said, how would you say Nigerians youth are lazy? Nigerian youths aren't lazy. Give them power, give them electricity, provide constant electricity in Nigeria, and you will see that Nigerians aren't lazy. So yes, electricity controls a whole lot of things. So we see people dig their private boreholes. So government don't provide water again. They don't provide shelter. And when you were in school, Janice, you will recall that those were the, you know, basic amenities that they say government will provide. Shelter, education, and of course the water, electricity. We don't have those things. Individuals have to fend for themselves. And once you do that, you determine who plays the piper detects the tune. So I'm doing that for myself. So I have every right within the Constitution to name any price tag on my commodity, and if you don't like it, you hawk the transformer. That's all.
I think another thing we can look in all of this discussion is there has been a move to push for a lot of privatization in a lot of sectors. Because if we look at this political season, there's been a lot of churning out and moving money and bags of money around. $50,000, I mean, that's a lot of money that private individuals are able to move around. So if we have this much private citizens in this country who are able to, you know, push around this amount of money, why don't they come together and move certain sectors forward? Why don't you come together? I mean, in the end, we can only have one president and one governor in each of the 36 states of the federation. But then we can have these people come together and, you know, take on the leadership of certain sectors. Let us invest 100 million naira.
Let me also fill you in on that. Now, one analyst, I read somewhere that if you're earning 1 million naira as your wages every month, 1 million naira, you would have to work for about 1,000 plus years to actually earn 1 billion naira. And then to earn that much, you actually have to work for about 3,000 and I think 3,300 plus years to actually earn I think 10 billion naira, something like that. So you can imagine that someone who actually spends 1 million naira a month, or someone who has up to, let's say, 10 billion naira, might not even have to work his entire life and can live a lavish lifestyle till he dies and nothing moves an inch. Tell me why that a person or such a person would want to go and invest in entrepreneurship or create jobs. I mean, why am I stressing myself when I know I have, a huge bank account I can fall on? And even my children will not suffer. My children's children would never suffer. What reason would I have to invest such money?
Thinking of the next person, being a human being, be conscious of humanity. Number one, most of them stole the money. They did not work for the money.
Well,
so why I
think that's why
be a hardened criminal and does not have conscience to think of humanity.
I think that's why you won't find those kind of people invest in such monies, because you didn't work for the money, so you don't have that idea that you have to invest to have a multiplier effect.
You just know you have a source where you can always go back.
You just stash it somewhere, and you know that your life is all good and stuff. But again, talking about investment here, right? I think that a lot of people want to go into the private sectors, because if you look at it in Nigeria, we have a whole lot of small, medium scale enterprises. Now, what has actually been stalling the efforts of these people has been that it's either poor electricity, like Otobong said, or there's so much taxation from government. Policies from government has not been able to allow these small, medium-scale enterprises to grow.
True.
So why would we want to come and invest? Let's move away from even government policies. Let's look at even conflicts. So I invest, like some people, let's take the North, let's go back to the North now. I have my whole investment in the North. I'm a Christian, and one day there's a clash between the other people and Christians, and I'm losing everything I ever invested. Okay, so I come back with nothing. So what would give me that inspiration to want to invest?
The backbone of being a risk taker and a business person.
Yes, I know that. I know that it involves risk taking in business, but let's look at the risk we are taking properly. Is it a risk that will cost me my life at the end of the day? Is it a risk that will cost me the whole business at the end of the day? So I think we have to look at the risk, the kind of risk we're taking as well.
Truth be told, government would have to do something about it and then create policies that would guide, the operations of both individuals and the private sector in Nigeria.
Definitely.
And food security should be topmost priority at this point for our government. But we'll quickly like to go on a short timeout. When we come back, Rise and Shine will continue. So do stay with us.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Politics is a game. It is about delivering dividends of democracy. For this, accountability is key. So we listen, we follow up on the promise, and we track the progress. Watch Political Spectrum weekdays, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Exclusive to Spectrum Television.
Elections in Nigeria is characterized by fraud.
It is not pure election because of the way they conduct it.
The elections are here again. For us in Akwa Ibom State, it is another opportunity to elect credible and potential leaders.
But I see some of them are not really credible.
In fact, when you talk about the credibility in the Nigerian system, it's absent.
As for the aspirants, what are your plans to better the lives of citizens and ensure that it is not just another era of political promises?
Some aspirants came up with so childish kind of manifesto, something that you know that they cannot do.
Even if after campaigning and promising heaven and earth, you find out that by the time they come in, they cannot do 50% of what they promised.
Because they are coming to see this. If they don't use this, they will not achieve what they want. So it is the normal thing they must use to convince a man that does not have a proper ideology to vote them.
So it's just a mere slogan. It's just a mere slogan to use and have their right into power.
What do you, the people, think about the elections?
The electoral process has been marred by malpractice and all of that.
That's a bad thing in Nigeria. All election nights are about money.
Definitely, no matter what the reforms they are carrying out, there will still be rigging.
It's about the aspirants, the manifesto, the people's view, and in-depth analysis.
That godfatherism is what has eaten deep into our political system. It has become a cankerworm that has left our political system into a corrupt system.
If it is not godfatherism, somebody like me, I will become the counselor. So because I don't have a godfather, it will not work.
Because people feel that they will come and invest, they need to get something back home. So the major aim is not about the people, it's about their family and themselves.
Godfatherism will not help the politics to grow. It won't help democracy to grow.
Vote buying will even be more this time around because these people, most of them have stolen a lot of money and they will use this money to buy votes.
Who gets to represent you in government at all levels?
Well, for me, the new breed aspirants, I would love the new breed aspirants. But for those, there are some of them that will not, I would say, definitely, I wouldn't want them to come back definitely to power.
Join us on Akwa Ibom Decides every Saturday and Sunday by 3 p.m. each day, exclusive to Spectrum Television, as we take on the aspirants set to lead you.
government, Secretary General, delegates.
This was the Labour reporting for SpectrumTv to report for the license.
SpectrumTv News Brief at this hour. I am Francis Edit. President News today is a report that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arrested a former governor of Zamfara State, Abdul Aziz Yari. The former governor was arrested for his alleged role in the 84 billion naira fraud involving a former accountant general of the Federation, Ahmed Idris. On security, terrorists who attacked the Abuja-Kaduna train killed 9 passengers and kidnapped over 60 other passengers have withdrawn the threat to start killing the remaining 62 passengers in captivity by Tuesday. According to Sheikh Ahmed Gumi's spokesman, Tukar Mamu, the terrorists have given the federal government 2 weeks ultimatum effective from today to release their 8 children in government custody. Away from that, a prelate of the Methodist Church of Nigeria, Dr. Samuel Uche, has been kidnapped by unidentified men in Abia State. The police public relations officer in the state, Geoffrey Obona, confirmed the development to newsmen, the state capital, Umuahia. In health, the monkeypox situation report released last night by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control has shown that about 66 suspected cases of monkeypox disease have been reported in Nigeria. The agency also noted that while 21 had been confirmed, only a single death had been reported. On a foreign scene, U.S. Justice Department will investigate the police response to the mass shooting at a school in Alvada, Texas, which killed 19 children and 2 teachers. Announcing its official critical incident review, the department said the goal was to provide an independent account of law enforcement actions and responses that day and to identify lessons learned and best practices to help first responders prepare for a response to active shooter events. In sport, Nottingham Forest have sealed passage to the Premier League with a 1-0 victory over Huddersfield after a 23-year absence. Samuel Colwell 43rd minute own goal was the difference between both sides in the Premier League's second leg playoff at the Wembley Stadium. We'll bring you details of these stories and more in the news at 12. I am Francis Edit. I'll head you back to the Rise and Shine crew to stay with us.
Secretary General, delegates.
This was the Labour reporting for SpectrumTv to report for the license.
The Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigeria Police Force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian Police Force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but you can't be talking about cases which are in court.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding you, your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Politics is a game. It is about delivering dividends of democracy. For this, accountability is key. So we listen, We follow up on the promise and we track the progress. Watch Political Spectrum weekdays, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., exclusive to Spectrum Television.
Elections in Nigeria is characterized by fraud.
It is not pure election because of the way they conduct it.
The elections are here again. For us in Akwa Ibom State, it is another opportunity to elect